Hi, I recently had a credit card compromised.
How did this happen?
Mhm. Like most people, the first thing I wanted to know was where did it happen? I remembered visiting at least two, maybe three new sites in that time frame that I've never made purchases from before. And then someone made purchases within 7 days of me visiting those new sites. Funny timing, right? The frustrating part is that I may never know exactly where it happened. Even if I knew where, I would still wonder the how. Is this from external attacks slash breaches, or is it, or was it from an insider? This made me realize that the way we buy things online requires us to trust too many companies with too much information. And it's been happening for too long in three key areas. One, payment information exposure. Two, login credential exposure. And three, personal data exposure. All right, let's walk through the three areas, starting with payment information exposure. The bottom line is that we're overexposing and over trusting companies with our payment information. Every time we type our card number directly into a checkout page, we're trusting that business, its payment setup, and every system around that transaction to protect it properly. To further enforce the idea about overexposure of our payment information, let's take a look at where your card number travels when you're making online purchases. On the left-hand side here, right, you enter in your real card number at checkout. And so that's going to go on the merchant, i.e. the website's checkout page. And then it has to go through payment processing, which could either be done in-house by that business, i.e. website, or it could be sent to someone else, right? A totally separate business entity that handles payment processing, right? Now, this is just one website, right? Let's say you do this 10 different places, 20 different places. You've now provided that number of places your real card information, right? This is what I mean by overtrust. Alternatively, what we're suggesting is that you put your card or other payment information in a few different places that you trust highly, and then use those everywhere that you would go make an online purchase. So we call these wallets now, or trusted intermediaries, things like Google Pay, Apple Pay, PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, just to name a few. And I'm not going to go into all the details here, but at the end of the day, your payment information gets represented as a token during the whole payment processing pipeline. And what the business, i.e. the merchant, right, aka the website, gets is just a payment authorization, right? They never actually see the real / raw card information. Now, what MasterCard is planning to do may ultimately help in a huge way, but that's 4 years from now, and it's not certain that all of the other card issuers will follow suit. So what should we do in the meantime? Okay. Again, I think the most important thing is just to only store your payment information in places that you trust, and that should be very few places. Bill pay, also using your bank, is another approach that can be used to limit where your payment information is stored as well, right? You just have to check to see if bill pay is an option. Now, something I've noticed as well is if you're visiting a website and you're on your desktop or your PC, your Mac, whatever, and you don't see the options to use Apple Pay, Google Pay, PayPal, the wallet options, basically, I would check your phone first. Next, right? Go go to the same website, go to the checkout page, and what I typically find is that those options are there on the phone, on the mobile device. If you visit the mobile device and none of the options are still there, then for me personally, I tend to look at other options. Do I really need this thing that I want to purchase? Is it worth the risk of exposing my information there? All right, let's get into the second problem area: identity and credential exposure. Every time you make a purchase online, some kind of customer record is created. That record may include your name, your email address, your phone number, your shipping address, and order history. Now, this makes sense, right? A business needs to complete the transaction, send you a receipt, ship the product to you, and just overall support the order. Where we get into the area of creating accounts, right, to enable self-service access, to me, that decision comes along with the frequency, right, of using that site. If I plan to use it one time or maybe once a year, maybe I don't need to enable or create an account there. But number one, do they support guest checkout? Can you just check out without being asked about creating an account? If I do need to or want to create an account, then okay, is passwords the only option, or can I sign up with my social identity that I trust, or can I use one-time codes? Passwords should be like the absolute last resort, and honestly, I just don't see a reason why they should continue to be used today. Okay, let's move into our third problem area of personal data exposure and transparency. Most of us have had this experience. We buy something online, and shortly after, it feels like a new wave of marketing follows us around. New emails, new ads, new recommendations, new companies we've never heard of before suddenly seem to know what we were just shopping for. The transparency issue is not just whether company A has a privacy policy. The issue is what happens after company A has your information. Does it go to service providers, marketing platforms, analytics tools, affiliates, advertising partners, other systems connected to the transaction that we're not aware of? And then what happens after that? Company A may have a data sharing policy, but then it shares data with company B, which has its own practices and other partners and affiliates, right? And then company C, who may be affiliated with company B, may have its own partners. The chain goes on, right? And before long, the consumer has no clear picture of where the data relationship actually ends. That's the issue. Okay, to recap and bring things to a close, I want to review our customer decision framework, a 3-question checkout test that you should ask before buying anything online. Number 1, can I check out as a guest? Okay. 2, can I manage my account, my subscription and order or billing information without creating another password? And lastly, can I pay with a wallet instead of directly entering my card information? If the answer to all 3 of those is no, that does not mean that you should just walk away, because sometimes you might really need that particular product or service, but it should make you pause. Okay? Always use the lowest exposure option available. Don't save your card if you don't need to. Decline optional marketing where possible. Where you have reasonable alternatives, reward the better experience. This is the Trustlytics lens. We need to push businesses toward digital experiences that ask for less, protect more, and make the relationship clear. Companies need your information to complete a transaction, yes, but They don't need to make you create a password that is likely to be compromised, and they definitely don't need you to put your personal payment information at risk through overexposure. That's it for this video. Follow Trustlytics if you want practical, everyday guidance on how to navigate the trust decisions we all make while using online experiences. Thank you.